Listen, I know we're all aboard the hype train for Season 4, which I'm still convinced is coming this week, perhaps not tonight, which would be a bummer, but with no official marketing currently, may seem a bit more likely. But there's been some actually insane developments with the information surrounding Call of Duty 2020. So, with nothing having been officially confirmed, officially in the capacity of a full reveal from Call of Duty or anything of that nature, so much so to the point that we haven't even heard clearly who's developing this game, with a quarterly Activision's earning call earlier this year reporting that only a new Call of Duty was in development for later this year, but not stating who is actually developing it. Nothing official has been teased, but we may have more than our fill to digest when it comes to information. So today, I want to let you know everything that broke today and in the last 24 to 36 hours, because it's a lot, and I want to keep you guys in the loop with as much as possible while we're waiting for Season 4. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of this here? What do you think of the direction, the rumors, and the theory behind all of this that we discuss? And as well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare, Warzone, and of course, Call of Duty 2020 content as we round into the coming days to weeks here in what's on hand. But anyways, let's get into it. So let's preface this video by saying that unfortunately I cannot show you the specified images or code in this video. As we've mentioned before, this is some clear as day strikeable material that it's intellectual property of Activision and presumably Treyarch in this case. And I'm sorry that I won't risk years and years of building up this platform and this channel for a few images that will link in the description below if you really want to check them out, but also I'm not too sorry. So just know that going in, there won't be images here of this kind of stuff. But let's start with where this information comes from. Earlier, we saw a report for a game that came into question on the PlayStation Store called The Red Door. Now, at first glance, to the untrained eye, this is literally nothing, and maybe just a little indie puzzle game. But that's the entire point. The application in the game, which is hidden so far in the depths of the online store and in the database of Sony and PlayStation, it's not meant to be seen for those that may stumble across it, somehow getting there. It's meant to, if you get to that point, trick them into thinking that there's no correlation at all to what's actually being worked on with that. But this game, which was for the first time seen in May on Sony's package database, has since been updated 3 times and is a total of 71 gigabytes in size. But why are we talking about a game called The Red Door? Well, if you look at that content ID designated name for that title, it's actually COD 2020 Int Alpha 1, or Call of Duty 2020 Internal Alpha. Now, this was a huge mind blower at first, but it's also something that should be considered somewhat regular, even though the world doesn't necessarily ever get to see these. The last alpha that really kind of blew the lid on the community with the connection to Call of Duty was a little project called Northwoods that was seen on the, I think, Xbox store way back before Black Ops 3 actually was released, in which that was the Black Ops 3 alpha. But no, the game is not called Call of Duty The Red Door. That's just simply the code name, though before the story developed, people were inferring that perhaps the Red Door has some significance to the Cold War in Soviet Russia, the spread of communism, and of course the Iron Curtain, and that was a solid thought. But at the same time, it seemingly was validated even further once that story did develop. Since then, miners, presumably with jailbroken consoles, since data mining on PC and PS4, 2 incredibly different worlds since the console can only read files on PlayStation 4, but this gives us the title and logo potentially for Call of Duty 2020, simply entitled Call of Duty Black Ops. Other sources have since commented saying that they hear that it's still titled Black Ops Cold War, but the art seems to dictate otherwise. But also, when bearing in mind this is an alpha, maybe that is subject to change. But in the image that was showcased here behind this logo, we end up seeing a couple of different things. A mushroom cloud usually connected with a nuke, a confidential dossier with much information redacted but dated for March 15th, 1976, territorial maps which look to be possibly set in Eastern Europe, and then finally a satellite map image denoted with various labels like Launch Site 1, Nuclear Warhead Storage, and Control Bunker, and things of that nature. And all of this with the classic Central Intelligence Agency or CIA seal behind the logo of Call of Duty Black Ops. So that's a hell of a lot of stuff to digest, but what can we gather from this? How do we know it's real? When can we expect to hear more? And what could this mean for the future? Well, firstly, we know it's real because, well, copyright strikes have already been given out here for this. Completely take away the part that there's the COD internal alpha listed in the Sony database. Strikes have been issued for all sorts of different people that have put up that image already on Twitter, in YouTube videos, on Reddit, wherever it may be. That thing is being actively scrubbed faster than anything you could imagine here on the internet. So if you see it, it's probably going to be gone very shortly after. But why was this even out there to begin with? Why was this out there on an online forum? Well, if you consider the fact that everybody in the gaming world and just basically everywhere else in the world still is dealing with the pandemic, COVID-19, and everything of the work environment not being anywhere near where it was, this stuff seemingly had to have gone out for some testing, probably with work from home, QA testers, or just regular old developers working on this. No longer would it be something that is housed in-house in studio and is something that is centralized there, and once you step out of the door, that's it. This was a big risk to begin with, having any sort of work done on this, because online, stuff like this usually seems to happen. We see things, these detectives that break into everything online and check out what's new. That stuff is usually discovered. So this seems to be that worst case scenario for at least a marketing and a PR sense, keeping it quiet on everything. But now that we know the validity of it, why it's out there, what can we really derive here from this? Possibly the fact that this may in fact be a reboot, something similar to what we just saw this past year with Modern Warfare. Now, whether or not that's something that the engine, the gameplay, whatever it is, follows suit with Modern Warfare or follows suit in a different capacity, we don't exactly know, but at least from perhaps a base fundamental level, we could be seeing a reboot back to the origin, the roots of Black Ops, keeping that Black Ops name, but also giving players a blast from the past, something that isn't exactly a remaster, but a revisitation, something that maybe utilizes the same cast and crew, but in a different light, a different mannerism. It could be the same universe, but a different story. It could be something along those lines. Though, if that's the case, it'll be definitely interesting to see how branding this year works, because there's one key significant difference between Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, that being the fact that the 4 in COD 4 was actually something that was marketed at that point. It wasn't just Call of Duty Modern Warfare, it was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. But this could be Black Ops to Black Ops. There might not be any difference, so we'll see how that one all works out. But as for the next question of when can we expect a reveal, that's the big question mark here that is on everybody's mind, and it seems like the one possible theory is that this could be in conjunction with PlayStation 5's reveal. Of course, with this being something that is housed on the Sony databases, with this being something that was worked on Sony platforms primarily, it seems like with the main key development, it's possible the exclusivity deal is still there in a sense, and thus, with not having any platform like E3 to debut something or doing a reveal earlier on in the year, it's possible these two are teamed up for a reveal of their own. PlayStation 5 and then also the reveal of the next Call of Duty title, which, if that is the case, could be as early as Thursday afternoon. So we'll have to wait and see if that's the case, but if it is, it also makes me consider that new rumor we talked about in the last couple of days, the potentially a much later launch date than that of other Call of Duties we've seen in the past. We saw that November, before the last two titles, was relatively that normal date. The first, second week of November, you could expect a Call of Duty to release, but in the last two, with Black Ops 4 and also Modern Warfare, they were October release dates, so they were a little bit earlier on in the year. But now that we have this sort of marketing shift into a much later point in the year, it's possible that we also see maybe that window between reveal and also release may actually be the same, just shifted backwards, and in which case, like we talked about, it could be something that is a launch with the next generation consoles. PlayStation 5 having Call of Duty Black Ops as a launch title would be something incredibly cool. Now, is that something that would then discount the idea that we'd see it on PlayStation 4, on Xbox One? No, I think that we'll see in this next year or two the same sort of developmental patterns between Ghost as well as Black Ops 3, where it's a transitional period where all those platforms will be accounted for. So we'll have 5 platforms being developed for instead of just 3. But that's something we'll have to wait and see, of course, outside of just all this speculation. But it's definitely really interesting to me that we see all of this, a ton of stuff break, not only just rumors, but stuff officially found in the Sony databases well before anything has ever been officially even murmured by Call of Duty, by Treyarch, by Activision, anybody in charge of this kind of stuff. We know very, very little, if anything at all, from an official capacity, other than just maybe there's a new Call of Duty coming. But to see all of this stuff without any official notice is certainly interesting. Definitely, I don't think how PR and marketing really wanted this to go, but seems to be the way things are going. But anyways, keep an eye out for the very near horizon, because I do think we'll be seeing some stuff here coming very, very soon. And of course, with Season 4, a reveal of some kind is likely just to follow right behind it. So that said, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. I think it's covering everything that I wanted to talk about. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of this? Do you think it is kind of mind-blowing that all of this stuff kind of leaked out? Do you think it's something that this is legit? Do you think we'll see a reboot of Black Ops in this capacity? Maybe jumping back from maybe the 70s to modern day to maybe a little bit in the future, like we've seen the last couple of Black Ops titles. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, love to get your thoughts. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff we got you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. I live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But let's end another way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.